Anytime I need to see your face, I just close my eyes and then I'm taken to a place with your crystal mind and magenta feel. Let's take a shudder in the space of my spine like a sweet cherry. The chicken cherry cola. Oh, oh. Do bo bo. Oh, oh.
The sun, so beautiful.
Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of the Temporary Uncles podcast. I am Uncle Number 1. My name is Nick.
And I'm tired.
Also known as Uncle Number 2. Also known as Ben. Also known as The Smell. Also known as The Jew. And Fucker Marks. And what do I have as your name on Facebook? On Messenger?
I know. You should ask Michael what he's got me
Big
saved.
nose, stinky, fucking funny monkey.
And I have you as...
I used to have your name in my phone as The Nose, I think, before I changed it to Fucker Marks.
Oh, I've been like 4 different things in Michael's contacts, but I think at the moment it's something really long. So at the moment, Nick, you are funny fucking long hair monkey boy.
Yeah, so we're both monkey. Monkeys are funny.
Monkey.
Monkey? Let's not make this monkey themed because then I'll have 2 monkey themed videos in a row.
Mr.
I mean,
Chipsley.
speaking of monkeys, Godzilla vs. Kong came out recently. What do you think of that movie? As someone who hasn't seen any of the movies from any of the other previous movies from the MonsterVerse,
I didn't have high hopes for it. I thought it was, something that, that would be fine.
yeah.
But
Disclaimer, Ben doesn't normally see these kinds of movies in cinemas, but I dragged him along because it was my birthday.
Yeah. But I actually enjoyed it. I thought that, and I do attribute most of that to it being on the big screen. I don't think I would have gotten as much out of it if I just watched it at home.
Exactly.
But it was actually engaging. And something that I was thinking about during it, which I think that I started to overthink about immediately, was about why I was rooting for Kong over Godzilla. And first I was thinking, well, maybe it's because I'm more similar to the ape than I am to the scaly the lizard thing. But then I thought more simplistically, and I realized that Kong is just sort of chilling around doing his own thing, and Godzilla comes in and starts shit for no good reason. And I think that's why I root for the gorilla.
I think this movie actively makes Kong to be like the quote unquote hero, especially for and I think he also is shown. He's got much more of an expressive face, which kind of helps. But this version of Godzilla, I will say, is the most expressive Godzilla we've seen on the big screen. Because, like, previous Godzillas would have just been a guy in a suit, so he just had one facial expression. Shin Godzilla also kind of just has one facial expression, even though it's a big CGI monster.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like, the legendary Godzilla is, like, the first Godzilla we've seen who can actually, like, express emotion. But yeah, like this Godzilla is like very emotive in comparison to a lot of other Godzillas. So there's that, and so I guess the same can go for King Kong, even though I think he's always been kind of an expressive monster.
Yeah, well, Kong is, he does have a face that is more easier to empathize with as a person, and he's also got like his little child friend, and
Exactly, the child friend also adds more empathy to Kong's side. Godzilla doesn't have that. But, like, I guess maybe if you'd seen maybe the previous Godzilla movies, you'd be rooting for Godzilla a bit, just because of the fact that he's presented as the good guy in those movies, despite how much shit he destroys. Yeah,
I suppose, there's that framing there. But at the end of it, spoilers for this, this monster
little
film.
I guess just go forward a couple minutes or something if you don't want to be spoiled for a movie that's a month old.
The man will probably give a timestamp.
Skip to 7 minutes 38 seconds to avoid funny Godzilla vs. Kong spoilers.
By the end of it, because Godzilla and King Kong have to team up to beat, Mecha Godzilla, it does redeem Godzilla a little bit, but it's still... He's the reason that so much destruction and damage is being caused,
But he's doing it because they're provoking him with that Mecha Godzilla thing.
Yeah, well, yeah, but the Mecha Godzilla was only there after the fact. Godzilla was already wrecking house.
No,
before
they
the
established at the beginning that he is following these signals. And every time they destroy it, they relocate and the signal comes from that place again. Every time they boot up Mecha Godzilla, it's giving off a signal that Godzilla follows and starts wrecking house.
Well, yeah, it seems like the presence of any kind of big Titan thing seems to set him off. So Kong being out and about calls Godzilla. So basically, Godzilla needs to be top dog, and any large thing brings it in.
Well, they call him King of the Monsters in the previous movie for a reason. Like, if you'd seen the previous movie, you'd know why he's at the top of the food chain.
So he is just there to fuck things up.
He's there to be king.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Anyone who stands in his way gets fucked.
Yeah.
But I mean, any monster movie fans would know that a King Kong versus Godzilla movie would have ended with them teaming up to fight Mechagodzilla anyway, because they're the two franchise powerhouses. You can't kill one or the other. You know, you got to have them team up. Unlike Batman v Superman, which had like a story in mind and planned to resurrect Superman anyway, you know. But Godzilla vs Kong like never was gonna kill one or the other.
Yeah. Well, I
mean, it's pretty obvious that Godzilla won the fight, but then they teamed up to fight Mechagodzilla.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, with Godzilla vs Kong, it is specifically right. These two these two things will fight, and that is the center of the movie is about these two things fighting.
Yeah.
But with Batman vs Superman, I think that's a little bit of a disingenuous title because it's not all about them just fighting.
Well, yeah, Zack Snyder didn't want to call it that originally. Like they I don't know what they haven't really said what the title would have been otherwise, but like that's not like what the original title was going to be.
Because Batman has feels. Identifies Superman as an existential threat, but ultimately they find a way to come together to fight a common enemy is not a good title.
Yeah. Well, I think it would have been something along the lines of like Dawn of Justice or something like that, like without the Batman v Superman in the title.
Call it Martha!
Or it might have just been Batman / Superman.
Sure.
That's what a lot of Batman Superman team up comics are called, so yeah.
Call it An Evening with Clark and Bruce.
Back to Kong versus Godzilla. I would say I'm a fan of the MonsterVerse movies because I haven't like disliked any of them yet. I think my favorite is Kong Skull Island, and then Godzilla, then Godzilla versus Kong, and then Godzilla King of the Monsters. I don't think it's a bad movie. I just think it's like my least favorite of the four, and it's hard obviously to rank them like that when there's only 4 movies.
What's the one with Matthew Broderick in it? Is that?
That's from 1998, and that does not count. That's not part of this universe. It's its own beast. In fact, a lot of Godzilla fans don't even call that monster Godzilla because it's not really a Godzilla. It's closer to like a dinosaur. It lays eggs, and it's kind of almost just its own thing.
What about the one with Jack Black and Adrian Brody?
That's King Kong.
Okay.
And that was from 2005, and that's also its own standalone movie.
Okay.
This current cinematic universe, like this series of films, is just 4 movies. 2014 Godzilla, Kong Skull Island, Godzilla King of the Monsters, and then Godzilla vs Kong.
Oh, okay.
It's its own thing. Like, there's a whole bunch of different standalone franchises and stuff. Like, there's a 70s King Kong remake as well, which is just its own thing. Then there's the original Kong movies from the 30s, there's just 2 of them. They cross over into, I think, the original King Kong versus Godzilla, which then got its own sequel called King Kong Escapes.
Oh, where from?
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Okay, so he's somewhere, and he leaves.
Yeah.
And that is the movie.
Yeah.
Great, well now we don't need to see it. We know what happens. It told us.
So yeah, there's a whole bunch. Like, I think Godzilla is like the longest running film franchise in Japan. I think.
Yeah.
There's like 30 movies, I think, including the new ones.
What about Astro Boy?
What about Astro Boy? One, not a movie franchise. 2, there hasn't been an Astro Boy thing since the Nicolas Cage movie in 2009.
I was kind of hoping that if I just named a Japanese thing and said it quizzically, that would be enough to contribute to the conversation. What about The Legend of Zelda?
The video game.
What about Rice?
Tasty.
The
I
longest
do
running
actually
series.
want to watch like all of the movies in the Godzilla series, but it would be very like it'll take a while.
I want to know about the
through
other
them.
monsters.
So the other monsters that also there are a few that show up in Godzilla 2. There's Rodan, Mothra, and King Ghidorah.
Right.
They're old monsters from the 60s and 70s movies.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Godzilla 2014, there is a new creature called a Muto, which is original to that movie. So Godzilla's the only like previously known character in that movie. And then Mechagodzilla in this one was also from the old movies as well. And then Kong Skull Island, I think Kong was pretty much the only creature in that movie that's based on something else.
Oh.
Yeah. I should show you the other movies because they are very good, especially Kong Skull Island. I really like that one. It's got this like, it's got like probably the best human characters out of the whole series, and that's probably why it's up there as the best movie in the franchise. Because it's just it's got human characters that actually have arcs and like have like their own. Their story is actually related to the monsters. They're not just like kind of tangential. Like they do interact with the monsters here and there. Because Kong is way bigger in Kong vs. Godzilla than he is in Kong Skull Island. Because Skull Island is set in the 70s.
Oh, okay.
During right at the end of the Vietnam War.
Okay.
Yeah. So
And then he
it's,
grows.
So that's exactly. That's another reason why it's a good movie. It's just the like the style to like the 70s style of the movie, and it's like got these constant references to old Vietnam War movies like Full Metal Jacket, Apocalypse Now, and like Platoon and stuff. It's cool. It's definitely got a huge like Apocalypse Now influence to it, even if it's like just the color palette. And the cinematography from Larry Fong is incredible.
But as far as like the point about the human relationships, I would say that the human characters in Godzilla vs Kong weren't like much to write home about. I mean, the one with fucking
I like the Kong side of the story. The humans on the Kong side of the story were pretty fun, but the humans on the Godzilla side of the story were kind of boring.
yeah, like the one with fucking 11 or whatever her name is. It's like okay, interesting,
Yeah.
and you got funny Kiwi kid. It's alright. It doesn't have to
Like
be
they
there.
were funny, but they didn't need to as much screen time as they had. I think that their screen time probably could have been taken by more important things that they cut out of the movie.
Well, yeah, and also I don't want people to feel like a film has to be funny.
Exactly. That's something that's Marvel has kind of made the film industry into, is like movies have to be funny now. You know,
In order to be like a summer blockbuster, it has to have
Exactly.
spectacle and jokes.
And like, I mean, Kong Skull Island is a movie where like the humor like feels natural to it, but like Godzilla and Godzilla King of the Monsters are like, there's barely any humor in them, and the humor that's in them is like kind of dry.
Yeah.
You know, it's not look at the funny joke.
Yeah.
It's very like it's just there, you know. And so those are movies that actually I think work well with the lack of humor, and then Kong Skull Island works well with like the humor that's in it.
Well, I suppose that then when you have that crossover with the two characters, you're left with the choice of, well, do we do a bit of both?
I'm not saying Kong Skull Island is a comedy. I'm just saying it's got humor in it, and the humor feels natural.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
It was fine.
I liked Kong versus Godzilla, but it could have been better. I think the human element.
Skip to 18 minutes 41 seconds to avoid funny Godzilla vs. Kong spoilers. Oh, who cares? This movie's been out for a month now.
I liked the human element on the Kong side, and I loved when they went into like the Hollow Earth and stuff. Like that whole aspect of the movie, I thought was really well done. But the Godzilla side of the movie could have been done better. I feel like there should have been a bit more emphasis placed on the guy who originally piloted Mechagodzilla, because the guy who plays him, he's supposed to be like the son or something of the Japanese scientist in the previous Godzilla movies, who's
Yeah.
like a really important character. And then this guy, they name drop him very loosely once, and then he's just kind of the Asian guy in the movie. He's like, there's barely any importance put on him.
He feels like prominent henchman character number one, as
Exactly.
opposed to a character.
They should have put more emphasis on him. I think it would have been good if they also actually gave Lance Reddick some screen time, because he's in the movie for about 5 seconds.
Which one's that guy?
Exactly. He's in the movie for 5 seconds. You're not going to remember who he is.
I don't.
They credit his name has like a prominent credit in the credits, and he's in the movie for about 5 seconds. Apparently, he was supposed to be a grown-up version of one of the characters from Kong Skull Island.
Right.
But he has 5 seconds of screen time and has no important role to play in this movie at all. I don't know why they cut so much of his screen time out when he actually did film scenes for the movie.
Yeah.
The same goes for 2 other actresses who said that they had filmed important scenes for the movie and then got cut out. And like, I'm not saying the movie had to be 2.5 hours long. The runtime worked perfectly fine for this movie. But I think that some of the time that was spent on the boringness of Eleven and Friends plotline could have been spent with more important characters.
I think that if you cut the kids and spent more time developing and exploring
Even the scientist guy that helps them, like, he was more interesting than the 2 kids that went along with him.
Yeah, even if it was just him and not him and 2 children.
Yeah.
If they explored more of the motivations of, CEO man, other than being
Exactly.
like, I'm going to be the most powerful, whatever. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
well that's a motive, but it's not particularly. And then also the pilot guy,
Yeah, exactly.
exploring his relationship with the CEO, because evidently
Well, and also his relationship with his father as well. The guy who basically was the man who made Godzilla the good guy, who like stopped everyone from wanting to fight him.
Yeah, well, having not seen the previous film, I didn't know that character existed.
Exactly, yeah. They call him Serizawa once, but there's no importance placed on that name at all, despite Serizawa being the name of like one of the main characters from the previous Godzilla movies, and he's also the name of the scientist from the 50s and 60s Godzilla movies.
Right.
Like Serizawa is a name synonymous with the Godzilla franchise.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, so the fact that they put no emphasis on the name, it just means that like he must have had an important role, and then they just cut down his screen time for a funny joke.
It'd be like if fucking Luke Skywalker was like a mechanic for Ben Kenobi for like 2 minutes in Star Wars, and that was it.
Kind of. Yeah,
They dropped his name once.
But so apparently Ziyi Zhang, who has a role in Godzilla King of the Monsters as one of the researchers of Mothra, she also had important scenes in this one. So and I guess her scenes in this would have teased a potential Mothra movie.
Right.
It just would have been cool to see that in the movie, like just even just one scene with her characters, because she plays twins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and both twins are in King of the Monsters, so like it's not like they're just bringing these random twins into the movie.
Would you watch a Mothra movie with Mary-Kate and Ashley in it?
Not Mary-Kate and Ashley, no, but with Ziyi Zhang playing both the twins, yes. Because she is a good actress, and because she was in King of the Monsters. Mary-Kate and Ashley were not in King of the Monsters.
What if when they get her to play the 2 different twins, like one of them's wearing a bow and the other one isn't, and she what she does is she just pulls the bow out of her pocket and puts it on and takes a step to the left and starts speaking.
That would be funny.
I'd like that.
Yeah. I mean, I hope that that Godzilla vs. Kong isn't like the end of the MonsterVerse. I think there's absolutely potential for more monster movies in that universe. There's just so many characters from the old movies that I think absolutely would look fantastic with the like current aesthetic of the monsters that they're going with. Like, I would love to see a Biollante movie, or like a what was it? Not Rodan. I mean, a Rodan movie would be cool because he's still alive. I mean, it'd be cool to see Ghidorah come back, but there's no way he's coming back. They used his brain to make Mechagodzilla. So.
I mean, Ghidorah's just he's like busy these days. He's got his solo band
he's
going
dead.
on. He's
dead. They used one of his 3 brains to make Mechagodzilla.
He appeared in I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, but then he had that nervous breakdown when they asked him to eat crocodile anus, and so I think he's going to keep out of the public light for a while.
Yeah.
But, I'm holding out. Come on, G-Man.
G-Man.
That's what I call him. That's
Yeah.
because we're cool.
Yeah.
And he calls me...
Dude, can you introduce me to him?
Yeah,
Cool.
I will. Oh, he's coming over Friday. He's coming over for Shabbos dinner.
Nice.
Now, I've got a bone to pick with you, funny man.
Oh, yeah?
Would you consider yourself to be tactful?
Define tactful.
As in, like, you navigate social situations really well and you know the right thing to say?
50-50.
Okay, so would you say that if you said to someone, since I've seen you last, you've put on a lot of weight, would you consider
don't
that
say that.
to be tactful?
Don't... What? Are you calling me out for saying that you're fat?
Yes.
Or, I mean, it's different with you and me because we've known each other for fucking a decade, and it's funny, right? I said it in a funny way.
Yeah.
I didn't just say, "Hey Ben, you're fat."
Yeah, you wiggled your eyebrows when you said it, and that made it funny.
Yeah, exactly. Well, did you find it offensive?
I mean, not really, but I don't think anyone has ever been like, yeah, I've noticed you've gotten fat. Okay.
I mean, because during pandemic, I had seen you with your shirt off before pandemic, and then I saw you with your shirt on after pandemic, and I'm like, oh hey, he looks like me now. Because you used to be very skinny. And now you've got a belly like I do. That's why I think I can get away with calling you fat, is because I am fat. Or not fat, but as in... Because we're not fat. You and I, we're not fat.
No.
We just have a belly. We've
Yeah.
got a beer gut now.
Yeah, like the rest of me, like I've still got very petite wrists.
Oh, I've got... Look at how skinny my arms are.
But I went and I weighed myself, and
How much are you?
at the time I was like 69.8 or something.
Oh, you weigh more than I do.
So I've never weighed something that started with a 7 before,
Me
and
neither.
so I looked at that and went, but I've been trying to be good, and today I weighed myself and I'm like 67 point something.
Oh,
So
nice. I last time I weighed myself, which was like half a year ago, I was 62, I think. So I probably should weigh myself again because I haven't weighed myself in a while. I'll probably be something like 65, maybe.
yeah. Well, that's what I used to hover around sort of 60, a couple
Exactly.
over 60.
I've never hit 70.
Yeah, I almost did, and I was
Despite the amount of KFC that I eat, it comes out pretty quickly.
yeah.
So it doesn't like build up fat in me too much. I eat quite a lot of shit, and I don't get
And then you
Discord.
shit.
I don't get Discord mod size. So
You eat it and it goes straight through you. There's no time to... He eats KFC and it comes out of his ass clucking.
it comes out undigested.
He puts it... He reassembles it.
Yeah.
It comes out of his boy hole. Living.
Here's a stinky transition to the next topic.
Well, what else have we done since the last time we recorded? Because the last time we did an episode was February, I think. So quite a lot's happened, actually. We went and saw King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard,
Yeah?
which was fucking epic. Zack Snyder's Justice League came out.
Yes.
We went and saw Prisoners of the Ghostland at the Fantastic Film Festival.
We got given
I'm
free
sure-
beer, which is disgusting.
It was not very good beer, but I want to give the apple cider a try.
I mean, I don't think it's fair for us to comment on the quality of the beer because none of us are beer drinkers. So
We're not beer drinkers, but I mean, so I'm not going to say it's bad beer. It's just a drink that I didn't like
yeah.
because I don't like beer most of the time. It
tasted
smelled
weird.
nice.
Well, yeah, it smelt of pineapple.
It smelled of pineapple, and then when I sipped it, because I couldn't have the whole thing because I was driving, so I had a very teensy sip.
Yeah.
Enough that I know what it tasted like, but wouldn't get inebriated.
Yep.
And that when it first went in, it tasted like pineapple, and I'm like, oh, that was fine. And then the rest hit me, and I was like, oh, it tastes like beer, and I don't like beer.
Yeah.
And then I swallowed it regretfully, and then threw the rest away because
Yeah.
no one else wanted to drink it. Did you finish yours?
So I had a Fanta.
You had a big Fanta from Taco Bell.
Yeah, which was probably about a third empty, and I tipped most of the beer into it, and that made it palatable. But then I tried to tip the rest of the beer into it, so then the can would be empty. And as I got towards the bottom of the cup, it got beerier and beerier, and I then didn't finish it because
Yeah.
it eventually just tasted like beer, and I wasn't having that.
Yeah, I only drank my this was it was cool at least that we got the free beer. So we got to taste something without having to pay for it.
Yeah, I appreciate the gesture.
The free beer was with the tickets for Prisoners of the Ghostland, which was a fucking weird movie.
Yeah.
Now, I am a fan of Sion Sono, the director of Prisoners of the Ghostland, and I'm also a big fan of Nicolas Cage, the star of Prisoners of the Ghostland.
Yes.
And honestly, their parts of that movie were fucking great. Like, I think the movie was really fun. The direction was fucking wacky. And the Nicolas Cage was just hilarious. He was and not always hilarious. He was fucking wacko. Like, he was awesome, and I loved him in that movie. But I think that movie had shit dialogue. The dialogue was not very good for a lot of the movie, and I think half of it stems from the fact that it's the director's first time making something in English, and it's also from the fact that it wasn't written by him. Yeah. So he didn't write the movie. So I think the script might have been a bit stronger if he had actually written it, or at least worked on it.
Well, was it written by someone who primarily speaks English?
I think it was written by English speakers, yeah.
All
But I
right.
think the thing is, they probably wrote something for Nick Cage rather than writing a movie and then happening to cast Nick Cage. Because I can't tell if it was just a weird script and then Sion Sono and Nick Cage said yes, or Nick Cage and Sion Sono were working together and then they hired writers who wrote a movie that they thought would be fun for these guys. Because honestly, most of the movie I really enjoyed, but there were like a few bits here and there, specifically kind of like the opening, where they're just setting everything up. That was a bit but once everything had been set up, I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on the movie?
I really didn't know what I was going to get going in.
I didn't really know what I was going to get either, but I still got what I wanted from it. Which was Nick Cage being weird and Sean Sono's delightfully colourful but fucking weird filmmaking. And it was it wasn't as fucked up as his movies normally get.
Yeah.
Because his movies normally get a lot more violent and a lot more sexual, especially.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I mean, this movie had its fair share of violence.
Yeah,
but
sure.
his movies definitely get a lot more sexy. Or not necessarily sexy, horny, I should say.
Right.
Not all of them, just some of them.
I mean, there were, the main villain had like a harem of. I don't know if they were all meant to be sex workers or if they were just women under his control.
But here's a question: did you see nipple in this movie?
Yes.
I don't remember there being much nipple.
There was, occasionally you would just see like a lady in a window who happened to be topless.
There was a bit of that. But other than that,
but no one like center stage or like no one like stripped off.
I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that like he probably, if he had written the movie, there probably would have been a bit more boob in the movie. But the testicles was funny.
Yes.
Nick Cage screams the word testicle because one of them is blown off. It's pretty funny. Yeah.
If this thing does get released online at some point, I'd recommend that people check it out.
I would too, yeah. I enjoyed it for the most part. I think if you're wanting to get into Sion Sono, do not start with this movie.
Because what do you think it's not
it's
representative?
Not necessarily. Well, it's not. So weirdly, I think, despite how fucking weird and nonsensical the movie is, it's probably one of his more accessible.
Right.
But I think a good place to start with Sion Sono would actually be the 4-hour epic love exposure. The best place to start would be what I recommend is what I started with as well. It's called Why Don't You Play in Hell, which is a movie about an independent film crew hired by the Yakuza to make a movie for their the Yakuza boss's wife who's in prison.
Right.
But yeah, Prisoners of the Ghostland. It's funny. Nick Cage, I want to work with him so bad. Like, if I ever got the chance to work with Nick Cage, that'd be like a dream come true.
Do you know what he's like as a person?
No, and I'm very excited to find out.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to sort of look at a person's work and think, right, well, I would
that's the thing. That's the reason you want to work with him, is because of the presence he brings to the screen. You don't hire a person because... obviously,
But there are people who you would avoid if you knew that they were like notoriously difficult to work with.
I
right?
guess, yeah. But I'm not saying like that should be the like. I'm not saying so. So someone who you know you're friends with and is friendly with you, you don't want to hire them just because they're nice.
No, but you would hire someone if you like their
From
work
what I've
and
heard,
they're a
from what
good
I've heard,
hang.
Nick Cage is a very down to earth guy.
Yeah,
from
well,
what
good.
I've heard, like there's not really any horror stories about him, which is good. He probably brings it all out on screen.
Yeah, like for example, even if you really liked the work of Jared Leto, you go, great, well, I want to do something where I can help facilitate his acting, but he also sounds like someone who would be trouble to have on set.
I
and you don't
think
want to deal with.
the only bad stories about him are from the set of Suicide Squad.
Well, there's that, and then also apparently he's like a cult leader. He like that there is a small religion where he is the figurehead, and he just walks around and is a deity. So I wouldn't want to fucking tussle with that.
I'm pretty sure it's literally just the fans of his band.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not.
They have like a camp on an island, Mars Island.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a cult, but it's literally just a band and its fans kind of having a fun like festival thing. I am very excited for this current era of like filmmakers who know how to use Nick Cage, because just like movies like movies like Color Out of Space and Mandy, especially, like they're 100% the kinds of movies that I'm excited to see from him. But even even things like Prisoners of the Ghostland and Willy's Wonderland, which I really want to see, they look like fun, and I just want to see more like crazy auteur filmmakers work with him. I'd love to see Ari Aster work with Nicolas Cage. That would be like a perfect pairing.
What has he done?
Hereditary and Midsommar.
All right.
He's currently working with Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh,
on his
yeah?
upcoming movie Disappointment Boulevard, which is set to come out next year, I think.
Well, I like Joaquin. I think he's good.
You're a very good actor. Have you seen
Inherent Vice?
No, I know you've seen Inherent Vice. What was it called?
Joker.
Uh,
The Gladiator.
Don't worry, he won't get far on foot.
No, I haven't seen that one.
It's funny. He plays a disabled cartoonist who draws very offensive cartoons, and it's funny. He's like paraplegic,
Yeah.
because quadriplegic would mean he can't use his hands.
Yes.
He is paraplegic, and it's funny because he decided, because of the fact that he's paraplegic, he's not going to let that stop him from making art that people would find offensive.
Yeah.
Because he's like, people would probably be too busy like taking pity on him because he's paraplegic, that he just draws these offensive, and because he's not got the entire use of his hands, like there's still kind of like drawing them with like the whole hand rather than the fingers that most people use.
Yeah.
So they're not perfectly
So he
drawn.
lacks
and
fine
that
motor
kind of-
control.
Yeah, and that's kind of like what makes them funny is the crude way that they're drawn as well. But he puts his pain, it turns it into comedy.
Yeah, sure.
And it's a good movie. Jonah Hill's in it as well.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. You Were Never Really Here. That's the other movie I was talking about. Joaquin Phoenix is really good in that movie.
Oh.
You heard of that one?
No.
No. Johnny Greenwood did the soundtrack, and it's really good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you know that Jesse spilt a beer on me when we were...
I saw that. Jesse spilt a beer on you when we went to see Prisoners of the Ghostland.
Spilt on my pants and on my shirt, and I ended up smelling like a pineapple bar.
So because we went to a film festival for that one, and we haven't actually gone to any of the other films at that festival yet. If we even plan to go to any of them. But fantastic film fest. Do it. It's fun. I recommend at least seeing one movie there. Even if you don't go this year, maybe go next year. I'm down to do it again. It's kind of like MIF. Let's see what's happening at MIF, and I hope MIF is actually being held this year, because we went for 2 years and then they didn't do it last year. So hopefully we can do it this year.
When I was telling you that I went to someone's house and we're talking about Yorgos, and she said that there's a bloke that she knows who started the underground film festival because he tried to submit a film to MIF, and they went and rejected him. He was like, "Fuck you! I'm starting my own festival."
Yeah, with blackjack and hookers.
Exactly.
And there was a short film before Prisoners of the Ghostland called The Dada.
Dada, and I've tried to look it up, and it looks because I was thinking like, well, where does this creature come from? And I think it was just invented for this film.
Yeah, I thought it was too when I watched it.
Also, do you know what language it was in?
German.
Nah.
No. What?
It was in Basque.
Basque. What the hell is Basque?
That is, I don't want to say it's a Spanish language, but it is one of the languages spoken in Spain.
Okay.
So it was a Spanish film made in Spain. I thought it was something Nordic.
Yeah, I thought it was European as well. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is European.
That area is like Scandinavia.
Yeah, but no, it was made in Spain and it's in Basque.
Cool.
I was surprised by, but that was a really solid short film.
That was a fucking creepy short film, man. That like really made me uncomfortable.
And they did really well with showing the monster. I mean, normally I'm against showing the monster because I think that unless it is really scary, then you've played your whole hand.
I think because they just make it like a disgusting man, basically, like a disgusting old man with weird bird face or whatever. I can't remember.
It looks like the Green Goblin.
It looks like just an old man that's melted a bit.
No, but you know the Green Goblin's helmet?
Yeah, there's a bit of that
big,
too.
Big, wavy.
So I do like that they actually showed. But the thing, I think because it's in black and white with very harsh lighting, it works. Because it obscures certain details of the monster as well.
There's still a lot that you can't see. You can see the mouth and the general head shape. Yeah. And that's sort of it.
There was like no eyes, or at least none that I could see. Really just the mouth. And the mouth is what you're focusing on anyway.
Yeah. I thought, like with the first time where she has to, offer up one of her fingers to the Dada.
The Dada, yeah. I think it's the Dada, I'm not sure.
I was expecting him to, clamp shut on it and, take it off. And that anticipation was... But then the fact that she just sort of sticks it in and then she pulls it out and it's all yuck, and then it just shrivels.
That's what freaked me out more. I think the fact that the fingers shrivel up freaked me out more than if they were to just get chopped off.
But I think the sensation of putting your hand somewhere unknown, unsafe, I think that's a universal fear that people can tap into. There's very much you might lose an appendage if you stick this thing into somewhere where it shouldn't go.
Yeah.
But good on the director, whoever.
Whoever made that short. Oh man, it's rare, honestly, that short films can really get under my skin like that. And I mean, horror, I do think works much better in short doses.
So Paul Urquijo Alijo.
Cool. Well, since we're still talking about movies, Zack Snyder's Justice League came out. I've recorded a film review. I haven't edited it yet, but I will put it out after this episode is up.
But you've talked about why it's important.
I did. I made a video about why it's important, and I'm very happy with that video. But I'm happy with that video, and I've got a video coming out with my thoughts. I'm actually more interested to hear your thoughts on the movie. So have you seen the 2017 movie?
No.
Good. But you've seen the new
Because you
one.
were telling me that it was rubbish, and you were also telling me that, they were trying to fix it, and I thought, right, well, I'll
just wait for this one. And you did, and you watched it, and what did you think?
I thought it was perfectly competent. I mean, I would never have chosen to go and see, a 3.5 hour superhero movie, but the fact that it was able to hold my attention, I think, means that it was well made.
It's not only 3.5 hours, it's 4 hours.
Oh, yeah, okay. Even longer than that.
Yeah.
And, I was impressed by, who's the guy that looks like a hammerhead, and who's all silver? And
Steppenwolf.
I think that, his general look and all the things that are... there's always something moving on him at any one point. And the fact that looked pretty good, I think is impressive, because that seems like an effect that's going to age like milk.
Really?
Well, I think, yeah, the more technical an effect is, the more reliant on CG that it is, the more susceptible to aging.
Oh, that's true of any CGI though. I mean, there's some CGI that I think will be timeless. Davy Jones from the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, I think will age very well. He still has aged very well.
Yeah, he's still pretty good.
Yeah. There's certain CGI effects that obviously will age really well. I mean, Steppenwolf, yeah. I mean, the fact that they were able to create Steppenwolf in about 6 months or 7 months of work is really, really cool. And I mean, I don't think it'll age like milk immediately. I think it'll take a while for him to age really badly. Because especially in there's a lot of close-ups where the detail on his face is just phenomenal. Darkseid, on the other hand, I think will probably age worse than Steppenwolf. They put the most effort into Steppenwolf, obviously, because he's the main villain of the movie.
Well, he's got the most screen time.
Yeah. What did you think of him as a villain? So not just the effects, but the character.
I thought it was the fact that he isn't like the head honcho, I think, is interesting in that he's not being like, right, well, I'm going to conquer it because, you know, I'm going to be the big bad guy. He needs to, because he is in service of someone else. I mean, like, I wasn't fully across all the lore about, you know, what's the mark that appears on
the anti-life equation.
Yeah, like, I don't. Yeah,
but
like,
that's something that's like they're teasing something that would have shown up in a second Justice League movie. Because the thing about Zack Snyder's Justice League is that regardless of whether it's a standalone movie or if they do end up making a sequel, the movie is presented how it was originally going to come out in 2017 with some extra stuff. So like he didn't cut out anything that was there to tease a sequel. In fact, he purposefully added more stuff to tease a sequel because he was like, fuck you to the higher ups. I'm making a movie the way I want to, and the way I want to includes setups for a sequel.
I think that he's more understandable with regards to his motivations than Thanos. But I think that, like, as a character, he's a little more dull. Like, I think that the fact that sort of Thanos, I think, just has more personality, and the fact that he has these children that are around him that talk about him a lot and he interacts with, that makes him easier to be interested in as an individual. But Steppenwolf, like, I get why he's doing, and that there is a sense of urgency with his job,
and a sense of
he has to do what he needs to do because the boss is going to turn up.
And there's also that sense of he feels like he has betrayed his people and he needs to, it's kind of like redemption as well. That's his main thing, is trying to redeem himself in the eyes of his higher up.
Yeah.
You know?
But not just be like, you know, oh, it's because your Darkseid is the greatest, but he's also, you know, contractually obliged, and if he doesn't succeed, then, you know, bad things.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, like, I for some reason, I never thought to compare Steppenwolf to Thanos, because Darkseid is supposed to be the Thanos of that world, I guess. This Steppenwolf is probably supposed to be more akin to something like Loki, in that he's like a second in command to the big bad. Loki in the first Avengers movie, I guess. And I guess the difference being is that I can't even remember what fucking Loki's...
Well, is he even working with Thanos, or is he just doing his own thing?
In the first movie, he's supposed to be working with Thanos, yeah.
Oh, I don't remember that.
What did you think of the characterization of the League itself?
I think that when I hear the phrase Justice League, I think of a bunch of superheroes sitting around like a round table, like, you know, a super-powered King Arthur deal. But the fact that this is more ramshackle...
Well, it's them putting the team together. Yeah. They tease the idea of that round table at the end of the movie.
Yeah, well, I suppose, you know, they've got to all survive in order to have this league. I suppose like assembling Earth's mightiest heroes is not, it's not new, But that's
Well, yeah,
obviously
this
not
movie's
the point.
very influenced by Seven Samurai, which was like kind of the OG get the team together kind of story.
But even still, like, fucking, wasn't the Avengers also that? That's
Well,
also
yeah.
assembling Earth's mightiest heroes. But that's
Yeah.
that's basically just, that's just the other team doing a similar idea. But
Yeah.
neither of those things are new in the grand scheme of things, because it's all come out in comics and stuff in
Yeah.
previous media.
Fun fact: the comics Justice League came before the Avengers in the comics, but in the movies, the Avengers came first because Marvel actually knew what they were doing, and Warner Brothers has no fucking clue what they're doing. Zack Snyder and his team had a plan, and then Warner Brothers was like, "No, people didn't like Batman v Superman. They thought it was too dark, so we're gonna fuck over your whole plan and make it up as we go along." Instead of just kind of going through with your plan and letting film it, because his whole thing was just to just to have all these other films spin off from his Justice League movie, and then the people who make those films
Can do whatever.
can do whatever they want. And then for some reason, Warner Brothers just decided that didn't make any sense.
For a reason they cancelled.
That's why, for some reason, like, they went through with the Aquaman movie, and then all the other movies have basically been in development hell the whole time. Like, it's taken them, like, originally, we would have had Aquaman, Batman, and The Flash in the same year.
Right.
Like, Ben Affleck's Batman as well. And now, all we had that year was Aquaman. The Flash is coming out next year, and so is the Batman. But the Batman is a different Batman, and the Flash it was originally going to have Cyborg in it, and doesn't have Cyborg in it.
Is this going to be Pattinson's Batman?
That's what I just said.
Yeah.
It's a different Batman.
Well, yeah, you said a different Batman, but I didn't know what you were talking about specifically.
The Batman is Robert Pattinson's Batman. So, oh man, I just hate that Warner Brothers has just decided that they know what the fans want, even though the fans are telling them what they want, and the fans are telling them, "Hey, we want more of this," and they're pointing at Zack Snyder's Justice League and saying, "We want more." And then they're saying, "No, you want this," and they're pointing at the movies that are being made instead.
Well, I suppose that when you're talking about these films, there are those who are particularly invested in the way that the plot unfolds, and then there's the general public. And Warner Brothers aren't necessarily thinking about the people that are invested in it, because they are a small subsection of the people who might see the film.
The general public has basically agreed with the fans and saying that this version of Justice League is better than the one that was released 3 years ago. Give us more of this one and not more of the other one. But Warner Brothers is like, "No, you want more of the other one." Even though everyone's saying, "No, we want more of this one."
I mean, when you say everyone is saying,
I'm
like,
saying
how
the
do we
general
know
public,
that?
people who have been very adamantly anti-DC a lot of the time, general critics, and just in general, you look at people who are just not fans of DC at all, right? Just people on YouTube, people on Twitter, people on just kind of influencers and stuff, and then their fans in the comment sections as well, kind of represent the general public in a way.
I would disagree. I think that if people are actually having discourse about it, then that means that they are part of the invested.
Well, then we
subset.
also take into account parents or friends of parents or people who just generally don't care that much, right? So my mum, for example,
Yeah.
she's not a huge DC nerd or Marvel nerd. She just watches these movies because they're fun and she likes them.
Sure.
She agrees that Zack Snyder's Justice League is a good movie and was way better than the one that was previously released.
Yeah.
And in general, that's the discourse I'm seeing from heaps of people who have been just disinterested or just don't like DC because it's bad.
I mean,
Who have watched the new Justice League have agreed that it is a far superior film, just in the fact that there's more of it.
well, okay. So
Just the fact that we get more character development. They're not really in the whole, there's all this world building and it's more the fact that, the Flash is like a character in this one. Cyborg actually has an arc. We get more stuff. There's no cringy humor. That's the general takeaway. There's the fans' takeaway from it in that there's a vast improvement, Zack Snyder's vision and all that shit. But then there's the general audience's whole, cool, more actual character development.
Well, because of the different ways in which the two films have come out, in the original and then Zack Snyder's, because you had to actually seek out the director's cut, the Snyder cut, I don't know how indicative that is going
When
to
you
be
say
of...
seek out, you mean because it's on streaming and
Yeah,
stuff?
because it's...
You would have had to seek it out if it was released in cinemas as well.
Well, no, I would disagree. With
This was released to the general public on a streaming service. It wasn't just like hidden somewhere on the internet.
Yeah, but when things are just in the cinemas and you go, right, the parents just go, right, we're going to go and see something. We don't care what it is.
Yeah.
They will just turn up and they go, right, well, is this suitable? Great, we'll see it without caring.
Streaming doesn't have that stigma anymore because of the fact that cinemas have closed down. Most people watch their movies through cinemas and through streaming anyway.
Yeah, well,
so
with streaming there is...
heaps of parents just say, oh, what's on Netflix today? Let's check out what's on Netflix and we'll watch it.
Sure, but with Netflix, there's, a billion things that you could watch. So there is still
It's
a
the
little
same
bit
with
of,
Binge. Binge is like Netflix. It's got heaps of shit on there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there are so many things that you could watch. So in that case, there is still... You have to pick.
Well, no, because with Zack Snyder's Justice League, it was advertised like a real movie. There were billboards. I saw like advertisement of it in the city, like on billboards and on big like neon signs and whatever. And then also the fact that Binge like shoved it at you. It's like the big thing on their front page. So anyone looking at Binge on March 18th would say, "Hey, Zack Snyder's Justice League is a new Justice League movie. Cool, let's watch that." And like it's like when Netflix knows that they've got a hit on them, they're not just gonna put it out and let people try to find it. They're gonna shove it onto their front page.
Yeah.
That's the good thing about streaming, is that you don't necessarily have to seek things out. If it's new, they'll probably put it on the front page.
Sure.
So most streaming services have that. It's not like with the cinemas where it's just kind of pick and choose.
Yeah.
Maybe there'll be posters of movies, and obviously there'll be the trailers and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, streaming is much more, especially with a movie like Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's not it's being hidden in this streaming service. You have to play a game to try and find it.
Well, yeah. It's just, with the cinemas, there's only ever going to be like 15 things on. And so the chance of people going in it with zero expectations just because it's there, I think, is higher. And so therefore, I think you get a better idea about what the general public might like, who I think is what Warner Brothers' audience is.
So when you look at like how many people were part of the original like campaign, right? It's not the number of people. It's not the same number of people who saw the original movie, right? Because the original movie made enough money to have been seen by like probably somewhere around like 200 million people or whatever, right?
Yeah, a lot of people saw it.
So that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, but I think in the opening weekend it probably would have been something closer to maybe about 20 million or something. But streaming movies never have that large an audience.
No.
Never. The fact that if a streaming movie hits like 5 million, which Zack Snyder's Justice League did on Binge alone, apparently it hit I think it was either 2 or it was 5. But like a large number of people watched it on Binge, and that's just Australia. HBO Max, for some reason, hasn't released the numbers for Zack Snyder's Justice League, and I think that's just because Warner Brothers has some sort of fucking vendetta against this movie.
Yeah.
I think it's because this movie basically proves that they're all fuckheads.
Yeah.
So there's really no quantifiable way of saying how many people watched it in America.
Yeah.
Because they're not letting us know that.
Yeah.
But it's probably somewhere around the same amount of people who watched Kong vs. Godzilla, which was 2.9 million households.
Well, it's just that my suspicion is that if Warner Brothers release anything with the right kind of branding and advertising, then they're going to see a return. And they are more interested in producing something that is inoffensive and will encourage people to walk aimlessly into the cinema, as opposed to giving an auteur free reign, which may cost them more money and make the film more divisive.
It's a proven strategy by Disney.
Yeah,
that's how Disney makes their movies.
Well, yeah, because that they want, that Disney have classically been the family brand, and they want to be inoffensive, and they want to get as many bums.
I mean, there was that brief period of time in like the 2000s, like to 2010, around about that time, when they were making weird stuff that could possibly bomb. Stuff like, I mean, the Pirates of the Caribbean movies would have been pretty risky anyway. Those are weird. Those aren't necessarily the most family-friendly movies. They're pretty off-kilter, and they're pretty weird, right?
A little bit. I mean,
for a mainstream blockbuster of their size, they're pretty fucking weird. Okay?
It's more, it's like,
Especially when you compare them to how blockbusters are made these days.
I would say that it is, that they had, a darker tone than something you would expect from Disney, but I don't think that anyone over the age of fucking 10 would be...
I'm not saying that they're these surreal auteur masterpieces or whatever, like fucking Eraserhead.
Yeah.
I'm saying for a big budget, like PG-13 blockbuster, they're weird movies. They're very off-kilter. They're dark, which is very different for a lot of those kinds of blockbusters. Yes, there's humor, but it's dark humor.
Like, oh, yeah.
There's body parts.
The fact that there's, undead pirates and they, and the initial capturing of,
They're
Elizabeth
spooky as well. They're pretty spooky.
is quite sinister. But the thing is, anything to do with Jack Sparrow is pretty silly.
Yeah.
And there is just a lot of, aha,
But
Buccaneer.
but when you compare the Pirates of the Caribbean movies to, let's say, what Disney is working on now, which is all these inoffensive live-action remakes of animated films that have absolutely no style and no voice.
Yeah.
Well, Pirates of the Caribbean movies are 100% Gore Verbinski movies as well. So they're not just these big-budget, wacky blockbusters, but they're also auteur movies because they are 100% the product of their director. Because if you've seen Gore Verbinski's other movies, you can absolutely see his style.
I don't
He's made
know
Rango.
if I've seen... Oh, Rango I've seen.
Yeah, Rango, The Ring, and a movie called A Cure for Wellness. Like, his style in those movies is a very similar style to those in President of the Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy, but with a significantly lower budget.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that Disney's missing at the moment. They've got a bit of it in their Marvel movies. Their Marvel movies, like, especially the Guardians of the Galaxy movies and Thor Ragnarok, are definitely, like, pushing for the director to make the movie they want. But there's still a lot of Marvel telling them to do this, do that.
I would even say that Guardians is a more challenging set of films than Pirates. I think the fact that that they're dealing with a main character who loses their mum to cancer, and then then you meet the guy who fucking gave her cancer on purpose, and then he kills him.
Well, yeah, for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Guardians movies are definitely the weirdest ones, and I think that's what makes them the most fun, and they're undeniably James Gunn's movies. Like they have his sensibilities, and they're personal to him too, because I think he lost his father, and so he wrote that into the second movie. That, I think that movie is basically his love letter to his dad, basically. It's cool personal touch that you don't see in many of the other Marvel movies. Shang-Chi might have a bit of that. This the upcoming Marvel movie that looks like it's taking inspiration from martial arts cinema and wuxia cinema as well, which is Chinese fantasy films.
Right.
The ones where they float around a lot, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. That kind of movie.
Right.
Yeah. And I don't know, this current phase of Marvel looks like it might be a bit more creator driven and a bit more weird and a bit less studio. You know what I mean? But we'll wait and see. I haven't seen WandaVision or Falcon and the Winter Soldier yet. Black Widow looks like it's going to be boring as hell.
It'd be better if it was good. To be hey, look, we've got this strong female lead. We're going to do something interesting.
It's too late for a Black Widow movie, I think. One, she's dead.
Yeah.
So there's that. And two, I think it would have been way better if this movie was made somewhere in Phase 2. Maybe replace fucking Iron Man 3 with Black Widow or something.
Because, fucking Scarlett Johansson is a good...
It's exactly
good
that's the
stuff.
thing. It's not even just that, people won't see a female-led superhero movie. It's that it's Scarlett Johansson, probably one of the most well-paid female actresses in Hollywood.
Yeah.
You'd think people would probably go see an action movie with her as the main character.
I mean, if it was just some fucking meathead, tits in latex, it's okay, look, make whatever, right? If you
even that, yeah. But
but if it's someone who has range and could do something good, it's right, well, why don't you make it intriguing?
And she's obviously she's outside of the Marvel movies, she's proven herself a really good actress.
Yeah.
She's won countless awards which doesn't necessarily mean she's a good actress, but it means that other people think that she's a good actress.
Well, I've seen her do stuff.
And I think she's a good actress too. I'm just saying that awards don't mean shit. I'm just saying that because
awards are stupid.
I'm just saying that because she's won a lot of awards, it means that other people agree that she is a very good actress.
I agree. I think she's good.
She's really good in Jojo Rabbit, and she was really good in Lost in Translation. She was really good in Marriage Story. And I've seen heaps of other things with her in it, but I can't really think of them off the top of my head. But I'm just saying, yeah, like I'm actually weirdly so like this time a year ago, basically, I was really looking forward to DC more than I was looking forward to Marvel. And I've been like that for a while now, just looking forward more to the future of DC movies than Marvel movies. But now, just because of like all that's come to light of how like DC, Warner Brothers specifically, has just mishandled all the DC shit. Like, I'm kind of looking forward to Marvel a bit more, just because at least I know what I'm getting into with Marvel. Whereas with Warner Brothers, I have no fucking clue, because they have no fucking clue what they're doing. Like, the only DC movies I'm really looking forward to at the moment are it's like the Shazam side of the universe.
I like Shazam.
I like Shazam, and I'm looking forward to Black Adam and Shazam 2. And the Suicide Squad looks fun. But other than that, because the Suicide Squad looks like they're letting James Gunn go ham. Like, go full on, make whatever you want. And,
like, full on, everyone is going to be John Hamm. It's going to be like being John Malkovich, but John Hamm.
And then the Shazam movies, they've got pretty good cast. And Black Adam looks like it'll be fun too. Dwayne Johnson has to be passionate about this role, seeing as he was cast as Black Adam in 2014. And they're just making this movie now.
Yes.
So... Actually, no. He was cast as Black Adam in 2007.
Oh.
Yeah. That's how long he's been Black Adam for.
Maybe he's just, like, contractually obliged.
No, I think at this point he has to want to be the character to have stayed on this long. There's no way a contract like that lasts for 15 years without making a movie.
Unless it just says...
Other
yeah,
people have been
it.
Black Adam in animated films during that time. And video games. So, like, if they wanted to, they probably could have cast someone else as Black Adam in this time. But no, he's stuck on. He's producing this movie as well.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, if he's, having more involvement in it other than just being in it, then...
Yeah, he helped choose the director because they worked together on a Disney movie that's coming out this year.
Ooh.
But yeah, I just, like, the upcoming Flash movie is in production now, and I have absolutely no faith in this, despite really enjoying Ezra Miller's Flash, and I like Andy Muschietti as a director, and I think that, honestly, they'll work together pretty well, and they all seem like they're having good time with it, but I just think it's not the right time to make this movie. I think they should wait until they can get Billy Crudup back to play the Flash's dad, because he was, like, a highlight of the Flash scenes. Like, the dude who played his dad in that movie was really good.
I'm trying to remember his
just gotten rid of him because he's making something else. And that's fine. They're not cutting him out because of something stupid. They're cutting him out because he's contractually obliged.
Because he's not available.
And he wants to make another show.
Yeah.
But then they've also gotten rid of Ray Fisher, not because of any scandal or because he's like a piece of shit or something, but because he has called out racism within the confines of Warner Brothers, and they're punishing him for doing that. He said, hey...
Is that Cyborg?
Yeah, the guy who plays Cyborg.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, you're a racist. And they're like, hey, you're not in this movie now.
Yeah, I mean, that... It is
It
a bit
sucks.
of a, don't bite the hand that feeds you, but, like, he's, making a good statement.
He's making a statement.
But then to expect that they will continue to employ him...
No, but the fact that his character was supposed to have a huge role in the Flash movie, right? It was like... For the longest time, we've known that, like, the two main characters in this movie would be the Flash and Cyborg, right? Yeah. And now they've just gotten rid of, like, the second main character in this movie.
Yep.
With only, like, 3 months or so before the movie's supposed to be in production.
Yep.
So they've had to do a lot of annoying rewriting to try and get this guy out of the movie that I can guarantee it would have been more worth it to keep him in the movie than to cut him out.
Or like that's the thing is when you say more worth, you mean as a moviegoer and as someone who wants to see a good film.
Yeah,
it
exactly.
would be more worth for you.
I'm saying it would be more worth in terms of making a good movie.
Yeah,
But for Warner Brothers,
that's not their goal.
Their goal is not to make a good movie. Their goal is to make something that people will see. But the scandals surrounding this movie are guaranteed to put a lot of people off, especially fans. The people who want to see this movie don't want to see this movie because Warner Brothers is like, no, fuck you. They're like alienating the people who actually want to support them. And it's a fucking bonkers mindset because no matter how you have a general audience, fans are going to kind of bounce their feelings towards the general audience in a way. That's how Marvel movies got so popular, is because fans got convinced general audiences to see these movies. Because, like...
I'm unsure about that. I think that it's
Iron
because
Man-
Marvel
Iron
made
Man
accessible films.
Iron Man was a risk. No one wanted to make an Iron Man movie in 2008. No one knew who Iron Man was, except for comic book fans. It was much more. It made much more sense to make a Spider-Man movie or a Hulk movie or like one of those movies from superheroes that everyone knows.
Yeah.
But Iron Man was a risk. People went and saw Iron Man probably because of Robert Downey Jr. as one thing, but also because
But
Marvel.
wasn't that like his comeback role? Like he'd been in trouble and then they gave him this role. So it's not like
There was a bit of
RDJ
that.
was star power because he was a bit iffy at the time.
Exactly. So it wasn't like... It's amazing that movie did as well as it was, and it partly comes to the fact that they made a good movie, but they made a movie that like fans really enjoyed, and that kind of bubbled out towards general audiences who kind of were kind of already probably going to look at this movie, but because of the positivity coming from the people who saw the movie, more people wanted to see the movie.
Yeah.
When people say good things about a movie, more people want to go see it. That's why Justice League had like heaps of people see it the first weekend, and then no one wanted to see it once it had come out because everyone was saying it was bad, even including the people who said that they wanted to see it. The people who said that they were fans said that it was shit, and then the general audiences also said that it was shit. So with the Flash movie, you're gonna have this bubble effect where I'm sure it'll probably do pretty well in the first weekend, right?
Yeah.
But then, if the movie's shit, if the fans badmouth it, which will then kind of have a ripple effect towards the general audiences probably not having a good time, it won't be the success that Warner Brothers wants it to be.
No.
If it's a shit movie. Hopefully it's good. I want it to be good. I want it to be a good movie because it's been in development hell for so long, and because I like the Flash as a character. But all these decisions they're making towards the movie make me just not want to see it.
Then don't see it. Don't.
I
don't
probably
reward
will
them
see
with
it
your
anyway,
dollar.
but yeah, I don't know if I will see it like in cinemas. I don't know. I'll wait for a trailer and I'll wait for like, you know, reviews or whatever, but I probably won't see it opening weekend. But that's really the Flash is the one movie they're making that's like actively pissing me off, I think. Just the decisions they're making with the Flash movie. Everything else they're doing I'm like on board with.
Well, if you disagree with their behavior, then don't give them money.
Yeah. So that's the thing. The people who are making The Flash probably want it to be a good movie. But then Warner Brothers is like, nah, money.
Yeah, of course.
Then that's how it's always been in Hollywood, and I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
We need more. That's why that's the whole reason I made that Zack Snyder's Justice League video. It's a movie that like for all intents and purposes shouldn't have existed, but it does, and it's a miracle. And the fact that it exists is like a shining beacon saying, hey, directors, make studios not tell you what to do. Like, if you've got a hold on your studio, if you've got a name like James Gunn or Zack Snyder or Christopher Nolan, make the studio treat other directors nicely and let them have creative control. Otherwise, they're going to fuck off to the streaming services that actually will give them creative control, and you won't have any directors who make good movies anymore. That's the thing. Like they won't necessarily care about the fact that these auteurs are leaving their studio, right? Because they can just hire more directors for hire to make their garbage studio products.
Exactly.
But the more garbage studio products they make that turn out to be shit, the less people will want to see the next one they make.
Yeah.
And that will have like a net loss where Netflix is making heaps because they're getting all these good movies made by people who know what they're doing.
Yeah.
But then you'll get studios like Disney and Warner Brothers who no one wants to work with anymore. And so all you'll get is generic trash. And no one will want to see any more movies with that stamp on them.
Well, that their behavior will only change if they are disincentivized to be doing what they're doing currently. So if people just stop going to the cinemas and just watch Netflix stuff and watch these productions which have been allowed to be auteured by these streaming services that are supposedly treating their directors better. If that hurts the big studios, then they have to rethink their strategy. But if they are able to make a profit, enough of a profit to keep things going by just hiring people who are desperate to get into the film industry and make whatever they're told to, then they're more than happy to just do that.
Well, I mean, it's working for Disney. So, like, all their live-action remakes have been doing considerably better than their original films. They're all making $1 billion.
Because it's inoffensive and it's visible. And if you have a parent who's got a couple of small children, they go, right, well, what do we want to see? Oh, well, this Lion King thing seems easy. We'll go to that.
And it also, half of it is, it's just the thing that's on.
Yeah.
And then half of it is like, Lion King, I'll take my kids to see that. I remember the original movie.
Yeah, they have brand recognition.
Regardless of how good the movie was, a lot of people agreed that it was not good. And it was not an improvement on the original. Regardless of that, it still made more money than the original did because it was there.
Yeah.
I hate the current state of cinema. It's the current state of mainstream cinema, I guess. I love, like, the current state of cinema in the fact that there's more of it and there's more creations coming from people outside of the studio system. I love that. I love the independent cinema, but I'm really just finding it hard to be invested in movies made by big studios these days, other than superhero stuff, because I like superheroes. Like, I like seeing big adaptations of my favorite characters, but I'm not a fan of the ones that are made cynically. I want to believe that Andy Muschietti will try to make a good movie. Right? And I guess up until the actual release of the movie, I will be skeptical until I see something that proves that it will be a good movie. Until then, I'm holding the Flash movie at a 10-foot pole. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I feel like you said. I think that there are the people that are closely involved in the making of it will be wanting to make a good film, but whether the people backing them can facilitate that and will make it easy for them to do so is a different question.
I don't mind that Billy Crudup has left. Obviously, he's working on something else. So hopefully the guy they get to replace him as Barry Allen's dad is good enough.
Yeah.
But I think, really, honestly, the only way this movie can really get back onto my good side is by rehiring Ray Fisher as Cyborg. Regardless of how Ray Fisher left the movie, the fact that this black lead actor, or the black supporting actor, was removed from the film, be it on his own merit or from the studio's behalf, because of calling out institutionalized racism, is not a good look for anyone. And the fact that they're not acknowledging it is just them digging the hole deeper. And the fact that Ann Sarnoff, the CEO of Warner Brothers, is actively, like, going against the fans and not necessarily trying to put a positive spin on the stuff they're making, literally just putting a negative spin on the stuff that the fans want. Doesn't look good. Like, she could just shut up and it would look better than what she's doing, but she's actively saying, like, no, we're not going to make any more Snyder movies. Fuck you. She didn't say that, but that's what she's basically saying without saying.
Right.
And it's not a good look.
Well, yeah, I mean, with the allegations going on, it looks, that of course looks terrible for Warner Brothers, but Ray stepping down looks good for him because he's going, right, well, I'm making a stand.
Yeah, no, he's the bigger man right now.
I'm refusing to accept probably a lot of money so that I can distance myself from this corporation. But I think that if he came back, then that would look weird for him. But like, yes, I will take your
No,
your
yeah,
$10
no,
million.
no, I don't want him to get back onto that movie unless he gets like something out of it. Like if there is an actual like understanding in terms of the racism allegations and stuff.
I think it would be better for him, in terms of,
Well, I mean, I
optics,
think it would,
for him to just keep away from Warner
I think it
Brothers,
would be best
full
for
stop.
Warner Brothers to just not make the Flash movie right now. It's
Sure.
it's pretty obvious. I think they're just doing it to try and reboot the universe, which is even worse. I think they're trying to make it a Flashpoint movie, which sucks because it's like barely any of the characters in the Flashpoint story are in the movie, and then also barely any of the characters in the movie are Flash characters. You've got the Flash's mum, and the Flash's girlfriend, and the Flash's dad. That's it. Then you've got Batman Affleck, Batman Keaton, maybe, Supergirl, and a few other characters that I can't remember that are just tangentially related to the Flash, and the fact that they're all DC characters. We haven't heard anything about who the villain will be. And from all I can tell, the villain they'll just pull some fucking Batman villain out of their ass and make him the villain or something. I don't fucking know what's going on. I'm really not looking forward to it, especially as just a kind of soft reboot film. I think because it's just even more of a fuck you to the fans. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the current state of DC films. Suicide Squad, Black Adam, and Shazam 2. Excited for. Everything else, not really, because it all looks like they're trying to spit in the face of the fans, and specifically spit in the face of Zack Snyder. If they had left Justice League alone in 2017, if they just let Zack Snyder make the movie he wanted, I can guarantee you, like, at the point we are now, there would be, like, so many more DC films that would have pleased audiences more than Zack Snyder's Justice League would have, Like, if they let him make the Justice League movie he wanted, we'd still have Aquaman, we'd have a Wonder Woman 2, we'd have so many more DC movies than we have now. And I can guarantee you that, like, even if Justice League kind of underperformed or didn't do, like, as well with audiences, but if Aquaman, which had already been shot by the time Justice League came out, was exactly the same, it probably still would have made $1 billion. And, like, they'd probably just keep going with the spin-off movies from Justice League. And even if we didn't get a sequel, there'd probably be way more stuff that audiences could enjoy,
Yeah, but it's not the Avengers, so it's bad.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my, like, rant about the state of DC films. I'm tired, so I think we'll end the podcast there. Ben, you look very tired as well. You were just kind of lying down on the bed.
Yeah.
Alright. Outro man, do the outro thing. See ya!
What an exciting episode that was. Tune in next time where Nick rants about Justice League for the 500th time and Ben continuously farts into the microphone and then shits his pants. Follow the uncles on Twitter at tempuncles, and send us a funny email at tempuncles@gmail.com. Have epic days ahead of you.